Hey everybody, Derek here with Minute Maintenance. Real excited about today's video. I'm going to be teaching you and learning on the way how to install a front frame cut bumper on your Gen 1 Raptor. I got mine from Evil Offroad. My assumption is most of their frame cut bumpers for the Gen 1s are going to be pretty similar. And like I just said, I'm going to be learning along the way with you guys. Pretty much just unbolting the front bumper, making some cuts, bolting the new one on, I hope. There's very little information about installing frame cut bumpers, period. And there's none on installing this specific bumper. So hopefully this one helps everybody out. Let's get to it, guys. Okay guys, first thing we need to do is take off our skid plate. We got 2 bolts here, 2 right there, and then 2 on the bottom. If you guys are hearing a fan running, I apologize. It's like 90 degrees and humid out. So I'm working outside for the breeze and got the fan going, hoping it cools it off just a smidgen. So I apologize right away for that. But anyways, these bolts are 14 millimeter. Sorry, 15 millimeter. So this rubber piece was just clipped in with these Christmas tree clips. And that goes from this cross member up here to your bumper. So we'll pull that off. Tuck it up out of the way. Okay guys, so right now I'm underneath the front. And I'm looking, and it looks like this bracket, which is for our hood latch release, is attached to our bumper here. I know it's kind of hard to see. There's a bolt there and there's a bolt here. So it looks like this bracket, which holds our latch release, is attached to our bumper, which is kind of sandwiched between this plate and the bumper itself. So I'm going to take a 10 millimeter and zip this bolt out and this bolt out. And then when I lower the bumper, hopefully this bracket stays with the truck and the bumper comes out. After that, we're going to undo these bolts. There's one here and one there on both sides, obviously. I believe they're a 21 millimeter. So I'm going to try to find a place to set you up and we'll get this bad boy off of here. So like I said, those are 10 mil. The ones holding the bumper on are 21 millimeter. There you go, bumper's free. So now we'll finish taking off our tow hooks. And those were just those 3 bolts, 15 millimeter. Okay, so right now I'm trying to figure out the best way to measure where we need to cut. Obviously this has got to come off here-ish. So I think what I'm gonna do So I'm going to run our new bolt through this hole, which is giant. The hole is humongous, but anyways. And then this is our new frame horn bracket. Obviously it comes with the bumper. I'm going to set this over the bolt and then kind of get a rough estimate of where I need to cut. I'm gonna have to cut more than once, obviously. Do like a rough cut just to get kind of close and then trim it up after that. So my hopes is I can cut it here and then be able to slide the horn over the end of it and get closer to see where else I need to cut. We'll see what happens. So for now I'm just going to use a Sawzall to kind of start this. So as you can see, it's going to take a while, but I just started an angle and kind of rock it back and forth. I'm going to keep lubing it with WD-40 as I go, just to help the blade cut a little bit better. So I'll be back once I get it all the way off. Okay guys, I got my first rough cut done. As you can see, it's very, very rough. Got a little bit wonky there. But I didn't cut off enough even to get over here. But on this side, I can just get that hole lined up. So what I'm going to do is take my pencil, and I'm just going to kind of rest it on here, like this, and then draw a line down, trim this off, and then check it again. I did switch to my angle grinder with a cutoff wheel. I just get so impatient cutting, and the Sawzall never seems to work. I don't know if it's the blades I use or if I just get too impatient, but it took me just as long to cut the whole thing with the cutoff disc as it did to do an inch with the Sawzall. So whatever you feel more comfortable cutting with is what you should use, obviously. Safety first, wear gloves, face shield, long sleeves, safety glasses, the whole 9 yards. Don't want you to get hurt working on your car. So I'm going to get this cut up the rest of the way until I can fit the horn on, and then we'll be back. Well guys, I got him. It took some time. I'm pooped. The shade's gone, so now I'm hanging out in the sun, and it's still hot and it's still humid, but they're cut, they fit. After I got everything cut on the driver's side, I made some measurements off of this mount here, and made a couple measurements off of the new mounts and drew some lines and cut, and it went a lot better. I pretty much just had to clean some stuff up, but just like with anything, take your time, don't rush it, you know. Trim it up a little bit, check it, see if it fits. If it doesn't, trim it some more. You don't want to cut off too much, but you know, cutting off just a little bit at a time like I did is completely fine. Obviously it's going to take a while. I think that took me a couple hours, but I got it all done. Well, cut anyways. But now we pretty much just mount everything on. I don't know if I really showed, and excuse the mess at this point, but so you're gonna have two of these, and these are the new frame horn mounts. So that's what we were cutting these to fit. So that will bolt up through this hole there. And then we got our new bumper, which mine's still wrapped up. But that's the bumper, and then we got a skid plate and hardware. So you'll have 2 long bolts like this with 4 washers and 2 nuts. These are to mount the horns onto the frame. And then you should have 4 bolts like this with washers and nuts. And that's going to be to mount the bumper to our new frame mounts. And then in this bag is some Allen head bolts, these super nice washers, and then some nuts. And that's going to be to mount the skid plate onto the bumper. So let's go ahead and start getting stuff bolted up. After I got everything cut, I used a flap disc on my angle grinder, cleaned up my cuts. I sprayed everything with brake cleaner, hit it with some compressed air, and then I just threw a coat of black paint on there just to keep it from rusting away on us. Obviously your horn just goes on like that. Washer runs through. Then on the other side you got your washer and your nut. And I'm not going to tighten anything down until it's all mounted. Make sure I get everything lined up the way I want it. Powder coats made the holes too thick for the bolt to go through. So now that that's on, it's hung up there. We're actually going to, oh, my neighbor's mowing. That come. We're going to take this skid plate off and we're going to trim this about 1 inch back because this bolts over like underneath this, and this gets in the way of being able to reach that hole there. So pull that off and trim that up quick. So it's hard to see. There's a bolt right here on the other side and then the 2 in the back. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this right at the edge of this cross member all the way along it. So just going to draw a line, take it down. Millimeters like the other skid plate. And actually, you can cut it while it's on the truck. Just pop these 2 bolts out before you put your bumper on and then trim it. Okay, got that trimmed up. The other thing you could do is mount this underneath the skid plate, but then that leaves a little lip off the front of the skid plate for something to grab, and it'll just peel it back like a sardine can. Okay, now these bolts that we pulled out should go through both. The new skid plate, or the new bumper, and then your skid plate. Just like that. Use a little alignment bar to get this one lined up. There we go. Bumper's all mounted up loosely. Now we just have to go through, tighten up all the bolts, line it up how you want it to look. You know, obviously as even as you can and as tight to that valance as you can. It's really hard to see with the sun and the shade, but after we tighten all the bolts, all you have to do is put your skid plate on, and that you just run your bolt through the fancy washer and then put a nut on the back. I'm wiped, guys. Holy cats. The heat really does you in. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a hard job. It's just time consuming getting everything cut and fitting right, lined up the way you want it. So take your time. Like always, measure 10 times, cut once, or do like I did and cut and try it and cut and try it until it finally fits. If you have any questions, guys, obviously ask them below. I'll get to you as quick as I can. I'll put a link to this specific bumper in the description if this is the one you're looking for. Hopefully the thumbnail is going to show a good picture of it mounted. But yeah, like always, questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, leave them below. I'll answer you as quick as I can. I'll put the tools below. For torque specs, just make everything as tight as you possibly can. They're great big grade 8 bolts, so don't be afraid to crank on them a little bit. And I'm going to check them again in a few hundred miles just to make sure nothing came loose. So I'm going to get this wrapped up before I have a heat stroke. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a great day.